Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Believe in Tennessee Football. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Curbison, joined with Reed Bacon. The Vols are not undefeated right now. We are coming off a loss to Georgia, and we are going to explain everything that we saw, offense and defensively, why we thought this team did not perform to their potential, and what we have to do to bounce back. Before we get into any of that, if you guys are watching on YouTube, please subscribe and hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. Absolutely love the comments. If you're just listening, rate and review, download and re-download. And if you want to follow us on any social media, at Believe in Tennessee for our Twitter, at rbacon26 for Reed's Twitter, at Kyler Curbison for all social medias for me. And we have merch. I'm wearing it right now. It's a beautiful white t-shirt with a nice "How we doing" bud across the chest. Reed is also wearing his this episode. So go get one for yourself. The link is below. And yeah, let's jump into the show.
By the game. Snap. The kick is in the air, and the kick this time is no, sir, Reed. No, sir, Reed. Final score, Tennessee 20, Florida 17. Pandemonium reigns.
Loads up, fires long for the end zone. The pass is going to be caught by Tennessee. Tennessee wins! Caught it by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch in the end zone on the Hail Mary.
Down at the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. What did he do? All he did was score. Joey Pence, touchdown on play number 1.
All right, so before we jump into the podcast, got to shout out our number one sponsor, betonline.ag. It is the place to go for betting. It is your number one source for betting. They have all the odds, all the team totals, all the parlays that you could ever want, and they cover every sport. You got NFL, you got NBA, you got tennis, you got golf, you got baseball, you got everything you could think of. It is the place to go if you're going to bet on anything and make anything exciting. So for first-time signups, go over to betonline.ag, and for a 50% welcome bonus, use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, at checkout and receive that 50% welcome bonus. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, welcome in, everybody. Got another great podcast for you. Stinks because it's after a loss, but we're going to try to get into everything. But first, Reed, how we doing, bud?
How we doing, Kyler? You know, Kyler,
These are great T-shirts.
I was about to say, sweet T-shirt, bro. I guess you can kind of see mine, but they get the picture. Yeah, you know, man, we took an L. It was the first L of the year. You know, you and I have been riding high along with the Tennessee faithful, and so how are we going to respond to a loss? How are we going to respond to a loss? We actually talked as I was driving back from Athens today, and usually we don't talk. Mm-hmm. And there was some stuff where people came at you pretty hard on the Twitter sphere, and I said I don't even want to talk about that. Like, let's screw it. And then we started kind of talking a little bit, and you made some really, really good points. And I think it is good to kind of start with the tweet that got so much backlash because, first off, people are allowed to interpret things any way they want. But I think once they hear the explanation and where it came from and what you meant by it, how you explained to me today, I think it'll give people a lot of different opinions. And you know what? If it doesn't, that's fine. We can all agree to disagree. I just got a little salty when guys were talking mean to my big teddy bear, and wanted to knock you or throw you under the bus and be personal shots at you. Like you didn't, people think that you took a personal shot at Hendon. Like you didn't say, hey, Hendon sucks. He's overrated. He's a bad player, or we need to put Joe Milton. No, there was nothing like that. You just said he let the team down.
Yeah, I know. So my original tweet is Hendon let this team down. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So the entire point of the tweet was to say, I know everyone else is going to blame the offensive line. I know everyone else is going to blame wide receivers, and everyone else is going to blame DBs like Danico Slaughter getting beaten on double move or not getting pressure. So our D line has been bad. Or our offensive line was giving up too much pressure. And that's what everybody's going to try and say. But no one is going to say, like, Hendon didn't play well. No one's going to say anything about him. So that was the original reason for the tweet, is to say, like,
and let me jump in just real quick. That's your opinion. Like, you were sitting there thinking, hey, I don't think people are going to maybe put as much on this as maybe you personally feel like Hendon maybe deserved, because a lot of times quarterbacks get way too much credit when the team wins, and maybe sometimes other people blame. They're like, well, Peyton Manning's great, Tom Brady's great, Aaron Rodgers is great, all this, and people kind of maybe will say, oh, they didn't have enough around him or whatever, but maybe there's times where they didn't step up as much. And so
exactly. And my thought process is Hendon Hooker is the reason we are where we are. Hendon Hooker is the reason we had 8 wins and went undefeated this year. He wholeheartedly is part of that reason. Now, also, it's some play from other guys, from Jalen Hyatt stepping up. It's a team game, obviously. But how much credit is put towards Hendon for the reason we've gotten this far? A lot. That's what people said to me in the replies, was that the reason we're here is because of Hendon Hooker. Okay, I agree with that. I love Hendon. I think he's an amazing quarterback. I think he is the reason we're here. I think he is a Heisman Trophy quarterback, which is why I thought he let the team down, because he didn't play like a Heisman Trophy quarterback. He played his worst game he's played as a volunteer. That is a fact. Go back to last year. Go look at the games he played once he got in and the performances he put up and the management of the game he's had since he started last year when Joe Milton got hurt has been incredible. And everyone knows that. Everyone knows he has like 50 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. It's like out of this world since he started at Tennessee. Everyone knows. And that's the reason why this team is where it is. It's the reason why he was a Heisman favorite going into last week. All of those reasons, that is part of it. So with all of that into account, why would I expect him to throw for under 200 yards and an interception and get sacked 6 times, and probably 3 or 4 of them are on him? Why would I say that he held this team up when other people on the team don't do well? When Jeremiah Crawford jumps off sides and has those penalties, when a running back or a tight end don't pick up a blitz, who do you expect to step up? Who is the person on your team when maybe things aren't going your way or maybe things are not lined up perfectly? Do you expect to step up? The bell cow, the leader, the Heisman front runner, your quarterback. The quarterback is the most important position on the field, and that is who you expect to step up if other people are down. That's plain and simple. I have not said anything that is false yet. I haven't said anything that is false. And you can be mad because it's a harsh truth, but you can't be mad because you think he didn't play a bad game or that everyone else is the reason why he didn't play well. He would even admit that he didn't play well. He would even say, I missed throws. I made bad decisions. I didn't get rid of the ball and took sacks. Penalties destroyed some of our drives, but so did taking sacks when you didn't need to. So some stuff is on him, and it's okay. It is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. He will get better because of it. He will be a better quarterback because of this game, because certain decisions and reasons why we didn't play well are on him will make him a better quarterback moving forward. And people trying to get under my skin and take personal shots at me and say, like, you let the team down too. Yeah, I know I did. It's called football. Everyone lets their team down at one point. I said last podcast, I let my team down. When I first got in versus Florida as a redshirt freshman, I jumped off sides, destroyed the drive, and let my team down. I said all of those things. And it's the exact same thing that I've said before. I jumped off sides multiple times my senior year. I had bad plays. I didn't pick up my block like I was supposed to 100% of the time. That is letting everyone else on the field down because you didn't do your job. That has happened. I've done that. And guess what? I am jealous that this team is 8-1 and they have a chance to play for college football playoffs because I never did. So for you to say that I'm saying this because I'm throwing stones and don't think that I ever let the team down or that I'm just jealous of what they have or anything like that. No, I'm saying this because I'm a former player and people need to get blame. Like people need to have a little bit of blame when you watch the film and look at it. You have to be the most humble version of yourself while watching film. Football teaches you humility because you have to go in there and go, how did I mess up? How did I fuck up and let my team down? Let me look at this film. Let me watch and see what I did wrong and see how I can get better. That you have to do that or you're going to stay the exact same place. You're never going to get better. You're just going to continue to get worse and your team is going to suffer for it. So that's the only statement I'm making. Hendon let the team down. He did in certain situations. There were throws he made that I liked. There were decisions that he made that I liked. But that doesn't mean he didn't let the team down in certain situations. It doesn't mean that he didn't let the team down by holding on to the ball too long and by missing Jalen Hyatt on a throw and by missing Brew McCoy on a throw. Those let his team down.
I think, and let me say a few things to what you're saying. First off, I guess you could have just said, I think people just got so triggered and in their feels because they thought you were attacking him, which is not the case at all. Like, I just think when people read you let the team down, basically you could have just said, Hendon didn't play his best game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But like what you meant by let it down is because as a Heisman hopeful, as the quarterback of the team, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. That is where you have to be at your best.
Exactly.
Some of the best football players show up when it matters the most. And guess what, guys? Hendon's done that. And some of the other players have done that in the Florida game, in the Pitt game, in the Alabama game. Like, so, and we're like, I told you, like, I think Hendon is a very good quarterback. I also think Hendon is a massive product of Heupel. Now, I love how the guy is a good, hardworking, seems like a great teammate, a good Christian, a good young man. I love all that stuff. I don't want another quarterback in college football leading my team, but that still doesn't mean that I feel like we have room to improve at the quarterback position, which is crazy to say. I'm talking about in years to come, meaning because that's how much respect I have for Coach Heupel and how he dials stuff up and how he makes it. Now, remember last year we talked about Hendon making some missed throws, and we'll get into it this year about, you know what I said last year, multiple pods ago because it was last year, but Hendon maybe had like 4 or 5 missed shots in the Pitt game. And I said, just hit 50% of them. I said, no one's perfect. Just hit 50% of them. So if he hits 50% of them this week, the game is completely different, whether he hits Hyatt early or whether he hits Brew McCoy late when we're trying to make a comeback. So it's not knocking Hendon as a person. It's not knocking Hendon as a player. Like overall, it was just he didn't have his best game, and you were just looking at it as a whole team's perspective, like, hey, we're gonna, all depending on you were almost guessing where you thought some of the blame was gonna go, and it was
I was guessing where the blame was gonna go, and that no one wanted to admit that Hendon had a bad game and he had plays where he let his teammates down. Like,
yeah, and maybe
Jalen Hyatt ran a route that was beautiful and got open, and you didn't get him the ball. Is Jalen letting you down? No, you're letting him down. When Brew McCoy runs a beautiful route and gets open, and he's open for a touchdown, Or is Brew letting Hendon down by not running a good route, by getting pushed around by the DB? No, he's not letting Hendon is letting Brew down.
Yeah.
It can happen the next play where Brew lets Hendon down because he doesn't get open. Yes, that can happen. But that doesn't mean that Hendon didn't let down the team. It doesn't mean that. He has the highest expectations of anyone else. He is held to the highest standard of anyone else on the team. You cannot just give him a free pass because he's been great. You also have to call him out when he is not great.
Let me say this. I think people will come back and maybe argue and be like, "Hey, Tyler, you didn't give us an opportunity. Like we were going to say that he let the team down and stuff like that." But
I have not seen one tweet that has said Hendon did not play well. I've seen random snippets of people as passing comments being like, "No, Hendon didn't play that great," and then they just move on. Yeah. But they don't say that, like, "Hey, yeah, he should have played better."
You got to rise to the occasion when you're playing, the number 3 team in the nation on the road. Like, you got to have a Heisman moment. Like yesterday was his opportunity to have a Heisman moment and all that. But anyways, I just, it just cracks me up. And this is the last thing I'll say on it. And we can move forward because I think we're going to have a really good pod to talk about this game.
Yeah.
But I just think it's so funny that, and I listen, I give up social media for Lent. I'm not on it a ton. I get on there to keep up with sports. Like I probably should do more to try to grow the pod, but like, I just don't live on social media and maybe I could do better on that for, like I said, for the pod, for your sake and to try to help get the numbers up. But I after last night, I was like, dude, this is just why I don't even get involved in this nonsense. Cause like none of these people, not one single person. And I'm assuming the people that we're talking about aren't going to watch us. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But if they get wind up, there's not one single person who's going to say what they said about you to your face or even to my face. Like I'm not sitting here saying I'm some big guy or any of this thing, but like I'm just talking like in generalities. People aren't like that. Like people and everyone wants to hide behind the keyboard. And that's why I was like, you know what? They're allowed to do that. I'm just not going to have to be involved anymore. I just obviously am, you're one of my best friends and like people want to throw out there that like you did nothing in your career and all that stuff. It's like, guys, like you are an absolute nobody when it comes to college football. Like this man played for 5 years. He could have gone anywhere in the country. He chose to stay home when the program wasn't in good shape. He was a 4-star. He was 2 times, he started for 2 years, had a chance in the NFL, like was on a roster for over a season and a half. Like, let's calm down. You guys got your feelings hurt about your little boy Hendon and thought that Kyler was taking his shots for clickbait or any of this. And the funny thing is, like, you were the last person to do anything for clickbait or attention or to be a mean guy because, like, you are the nicest person in the world.
Yeah.
So
if anybody knows,
you love Tennessee more than anything, and like, so you're always positive. You're never bringing the team down. You were just stating a fact, like it is what it is, and like people sometimes can't face realities, and it's just like, I just think it's hilarious that like all these people saying all this stuff. It's like you guys would never say that. And the other thing is too, none of you have the right to say anything. All you are is a fan. That's all you all are. That's all you've ever been. That's all you'll ever be. This man actually played. So it's just like, just take a step back, guys. Take a deep breath. Like,
like I am not trying to, if anything, I'm way over positive. Like on this podcast, people who watch this and listen to this, I'm more of a homer than ever. I always pick us to win. I always think we're going to win. You saw the video I put out on the Believe Network thing where I said, we'll win by 50, we'll win by 100. Like I had all the confidence in the world, and I always do. And I always believe in this team because I believe that anybody can win any Saturday. It doesn't matter. So
if you picked us to go 10-2 before the year started.
Yeah, like you can't say that I am negative about the team or I'm like bad about the team. I put out that tweet because I knew what was going to happen. And I knew that Hendon needed to be held accountable for it. And people weren't going to say it, and people didn't want to hear it. And it sucks. It does. He played bad, and that sucks. And we lost to Georgia, and that hurts. And I don't want to fucking lose to Georgia. I never want to lose. I always want to win. I'd fucking bleed orange and white. But that's what happened, guys. That's why I put no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then every single one of you tweeted me ifs, ands, and buts. You said, but the O-line, if the wide receivers, what about the defense? I'm like, guys, you're
read
a damn point.
Yeah, just read a tweet, like read it correctly. All right. Let's jump in. I'm gonna take this for a second. Catch your breath.
I'll catch my breath.
Yeah. So we're gonna first in little overview here, and then we'll talk about our plays like we usually do. So first off, I went down there. My good buddy Jack Gillespie lives in Athens. He's in the golf business, so he moves around a decent amount. But now he's the assistant pro at Athens Country Club. And so I was like, when I knew he was moving down there this summer, one of the first things we talked about was like, hey, Georgia's the road game, like come down. I'm like, all right, bet. So like, of course, I literally was laying on the couch in like August and was going to buy tickets for the Titans and Packers a Thursday night and for the Tennessee-Georgia game. Because it didn't matter how bad Tennessee was, how good or bad we were going to be. Like, I was going to go down there and visit him and be around it and see it. Well, of course, I buy the Titans and Packers tickets, and I forget to buy these because I get distracted and never went back and did it. So we go down there.
ADHD, man, got a hold of you.
Yeah, exactly. So go down there, and we had opportunities to buy tickets. And the funny thing is like I really mean what I say. Like, I do enjoy watching on TV more. And like, I would rather be in a room by myself or with like maybe there's like 4 or 5 people I would pick to watch a game with, whether, it's you, my dad, Jack, maybe a couple other buddies, or like, my uncle, Lou or whatever, to sit in a room and watch. Like, I don't want to be bothered by a lot of stuff. And Jack's like, wanting to go and like go to a bar and watch it. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be where I can't hear the game and Georgia fans everywhere. Like, I need to take myself out of that situation. So we went down and tailgated, but then when it came time to game, we almost spent money to buy tickets. And I was like, nah, like, let's go get some Chick-fil-A. Let's go back to your apartment and not be bothered. So it was actually great that we got to watch it like that. But to give you guys a little bit about the environment, like, it was cool to go down there. I have never been to a stadium, Kyler, that when I walked up to it in person, I thought it was a lot smaller than on TV. That stadium is not super impressive to me. Now, I didn't go in, so I don't know how nice it was and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, it felt like and kind of like almost an NFL game, because I walked up to where you can see inside the stadium because the back end zone isn't all the way up. Like, when you see Neyland, like, it's a coliseum.
Exactly.
Like,
it is a great coliseum.
You're walking from a long way away and you see, and you're like, oh my God, there it is. Holy crap. Like, there it is. Like, I literally got right up on Sanford Stadium. I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm here. Now, it goes way up on the sides, but I'm just saying, like, the whole thing around it,
yeah.
like, it did. Like, and I was putting myself in the situation as a recruiter. I was like, man, I did not expect this. They do a really good job on TV to show it from the view, and it still holds 90,000. Like, I get it. But I'm just talking about, for me personally, when I walked up on it, I was like, this feels like this is not what I was expecting for the University of Georgia. Like, I felt like this was going to be some big, massive stadium. Like, I've been down to Bryant-Denny, and, like, I get that feel at Bryant-Denny. Like, and maybe it's because some of the Georgia campuses around and there's some different trees and stuff, so you just don't get this overwhelming, huge, like, oh, my gosh, it's sitting out there by itself. That could have been a part of it. But I was just thinking as a recruit, like, I'm like, I mean, the fans were great yesterday. They were loud. They were awesome. They were great. But there was nothing about the game day experience that it was like, if I was a big-time recruit and I came here for this game, or I was at UT Bama, I'm like, and this is me not being a fan, I'm just like, there's not really a comparison for the game day with just the, everything involved in it, in my opinion. So that was my take on the campus and going down there. Now, the fans were okay, actually. Like, so Jack works at Athens Country Club, like I said. So obviously all those people there, that are all Georgia fans, and we tailgated with them, and they were nice. Like, they were fine. After a while, I got kind of annoyed with it because it was like the whole political back and forth. Like, oh, you guys will be good. Y'all will score on us. It's like, no, you guys are so good. It's all that crap. It's like, bro, I don't want to be part of that. So like, I actually left here and half the tailgate just to walk and see everything.
Yeah.
And like we're Tennessee, like we love our school. You love your school. Like you can't be around in the same area for super long. So
No.
the fans, it was great. Every Tennessee fan I saw, I didn't see a ton. I mean, there was a good amount. It wasn't as many as I expected, but like everyone, like when you walk by, it's like, hey, go Vols. It was kind of funny because it was like some kids would yell, like, let's go Vols or whatever. But other ones would be like, hey, go Vols, and kind of wink and be like, hey, like it. And so it was funny because like we're not trying to be obnoxious about it. But anytime you pass them, and I'm talking like I was passing like 60-year-old ladies, and they're like, "Go Vols," you know. And it was funny. I was walking down the street, and I was by myself, and there was like the one rowdy group of college kids I saw, and it was hilarious. There was like 6 or 7 or 8 of them, all UT'd out. You know, the one guy's got the one strap on the freaking overalls. He's got his case of beer, and he's like, let's go. And it was so funny because I see him and they see me with my Tennessee, and they're like, let's go Vols, baby. And I just give them the finger gun. I was like, I got you, boys. And like, and then as they pass by, everyone slap hands. I'm like, hey, have fun. Y'all just be safe. Go Vols. So yeah. I felt dad mode. But I thought, the only time I got a little annoyed with the whole barking, it's like I was fine if I walked by people and they barked. The one time that might have led to something was good because it was a family coming, and then like the parents and even the grandparents were kind of up in front. So I was like, hey, how's it going? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a super lame-o, not a very big guy at all. So I don't know why he was wanting to get in someone's face. But so like I don't see him because I'm walking by and they're walking this way, and he kind of comes from around, gets in like probably about right here, and just starts barking. And I'm like, I literally was like just about to like, I'm not gonna punch him, but like shove him, like, hey, get out of my personal space. You can bark, just not my personal space. Like I don't need to be feeling any of your. But since the whole grandparent stuff like that, I was like, I don't want to absolutely just like football block him out of my area. And if he goes down or whatever, because like, I mean, 5'10", 175 pounds.
Yeah.
But like, that was the only time that I was like, all right, chill yourself. Now about the game itself, I was a little bummed we didn't wear all whites. I'm not sure why we had some black gloves. That I wasn't a fan of the swag of the white, the orange, some black gloves.
Well, here's one part that might lead to the black gloves is when you're playing a team and they have colors, you get away with holding and everything that you need to do when you have your black gloves. When you have your white gloves,
good point.
It sticks out like a sore thumb. And they used to tell us the same thing as offensive linemen, like, hey, we're at home, wear white gloves so you can hold the shit out of them and you get away with it.
Good point. That's such a good point. Matter of fact, that's a good point. We did change our entire color scheme from white, gold, and green at Knoxville Catholic because our coach wanted to go navy so that it hid the ball better when we were sweaty, and a dark ball with a dark jersey for the wing tee. So yeah, good point. Coaches will do anything they can for advantage. Yeah. So for me, Kyler, to kind of start off, or do you have any overarching themes that you want to talk about? I was just kind of giving the picture of being down there and, kind of all that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed. Like I'm disappointed in some of the stuff that we showed out there. And I just hate freaking losing, man. Like it sucks. I think obviously I still think we're in the hunt for the college football playoffs. Hendon is still in the hunt for the Heisman. Like we are still going to be fine because that Georgia team is very, very good. But I was just disappointed. Like I was disappointed that Jeremiah was jumping off sides and had a lot of false starts. Like I was disappointed that we could not figure out their saw blitz with 2 dropping linebackers, and they ran it 5 or 6 times and got 4 sacks off of it. Like I'm disappointed that happened. I still believe in this team. I still know this team is very good, but a team that had momentum going into this game because they were ranked behind us, who needed this win more than we did, and who was pissed off for not getting the respect they deserve after winning the national championship last year, and it's coming to their stadium. They played great. They showed why they have the number one composite team in the country. They showed why they've had 5 stars for, loaded classes for multiple years in a row. They showed why they won the national championship last year. That's what they did today. Did they do that when they played Kent State? No. Did they do that when they played Missouri? No. They decided to do it today, and they showed up and played their best ball. That's what they did. And we did.
They definitely had a lot of good bulletin board material. I mean, you imagine being on that team and being like, oh, we're the defending national championships. We haven't lost since last, 2 years ago because they went undefeated last year. And it's like, these first coming into our house and this, like, okay, we'll be ready. We'll be ready. And you know what? Like we were talking last podcast, as a competitor, you find anything. Not really, you don't really need much to get up for this game. I mean, it's 1 versus 2, 1 versus 1, 1 versus 3, whatever. But like they all the talk was about Tennessee, and I think all the good Baltimore material was great for them. Now, not that Tennessee didn't have any. Hell, like Tennessee, you're the number one team. You got to go out and prove it and earn it and stuff like that. I will say this, Kyler, the 2 things that after the game ended that really bummed me out was everyone just saying, hey, this team is just head over heels better than the Vols. I personally don't believe that. Whether it was my buddy was listening to some post-game shows, whether you see it on Twitter, whether it's in group chats, and everyone's like, oh, they got 4 and 5 stars everywhere. Like, they're just so much better. They're so much more talented. Like, they just really kicked our hiney. Like, I personally, I get that. I personally still feel like Tennessee did more to lose this game than Georgia did to win it. Now, you can disagree with me. That's fine. I've watched it twice now. I felt like, and I'll explain some things here, that we really did. Whether it was offensively, I thought we moved the ball fine. We missed some shots that we usually hit, and we had a ton of penalties. Mm-hmm. And penalties kill our tempo. But, I never once watched it I think people are trying to act like, well, people say this Georgia team isn't the Georgia team of last year, but they're still kind of talking, acting like Georgia's just better than everybody, 5 stars everywhere, unbeatable. I don't think that's the case at all. The other thing that made me mad is people talking about they didn't want to play Georgia again. I'm like, what? I was like, you guys have never played sports in your life. I said, the minute I lose in anything, I'm like, run it back right now. Yeah. I want them now. If I was a UT fan, a UT player, my motivation, besides just wanting to win a national championship and go to the college playoffs, is I want to see them again. I want a piece of that ass again. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want to prove, and that's the other thing that bummed me out. People are like, well, hopefully we don't have to see them again. I had a couple people say, hey, you know what? We're way ahead of schedule. True. Let's just win out. And I'm not even gonna be upset if we don't make the college football playoff. Let's just go to New Orleans and let's go down there and have a big win in the Sugar Bowl and just celebrate up. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, we have a chance to go to the college football playoffs, and anything can happen on any given Saturday night, Sunday, whatever. And so I just the difference between how fans and people, former athletes. I'm not saying you had to be a former ball player. I'm just saying if you competed in anything. So those were the things that frustrated me. Now, defensively, to start to kind of get into breaking down some of these games,
we can go defense first this time.
What's that? Well, no.
Defense first this time if you want.
I'm not going to go a ton of plays all the way down through the whole game in a weird way. Kind of like a Tennessee win where I felt like the game was kind of almost in hand, pretty early. And instead of just here or there, I'm going to kind of give examples. But first play of the game, they have a good run but great open field tackle by Tate McCullough. They don't get a first, you see that and you're like, oh, dang, they gaseous. But then they get up on the ball and Danico Slaughter comes and makes a beautiful play. And real quick, you're like, oh, damn, they're in third down already. I don't know if other people got that film, but they got that gash of a run. It was almost like, oh, here they go. They're going to move the ball so easily. And everyone's like, whoa, pump the brakes. I don't care if it's 2nd and 1. We're still playing ball. We made a great tackle behind the line, and then so I love that. Then we forced 3rd down. Tamarion's all over Bowser's. There's not much else you can do. He had good defense. It's just like what we did a little bit with Jacob Bourne. If you got a big body and they're playing man coverage, you just run a slant. He can't come through you. If he does, it's a flag. Yeah. So, and then we get everything we wanted. Someone asked me, how do you want to get the ball first or do you want defense? I said, I always want defense first because I feel like, and this doesn't just mean for Tennessee, but like, any football, like whether you're playing or I'm watching one of my teams or maybe I'm cheering for the team I bet on, but like I want them to get the ball first. You stop them, kill their momentum, and then you score because I feel like it's deflating. You said we stopped you on defense.
You're one up.
Yeah, and you take that possession key, and we did that. Like Jeremy Banks drops the pick, but it doesn't matter. We kept fighting. Latrell Bumpus gets a hand on the ball, and the guys did. Tank, Tamarian, and Danico all were flying over there. Brad was even like, "Oh, they got it back." It's like, no, they didn't. Like we were competing. We got there. We got the ball, and then it kind of starts. And I'm going to jump into offense real quick, and then I'll let you talk on both of them. And the reason I want to say this real quick is because I think this possession was a summary of the game for us on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So you go and we start. I love it. You get Jalen Hyatt, smooth, nice, easy, effortless pass right across the middle. Looks great. Then you come right back and you get Set involved. Bang, quick and easy, over outside, little 4 or 5 yards upfield. We're moving the ball, first down. Then what happens? Offside. It's like, okay, all right, all good. Then we come back. We have Hooker to Cedric coming again, and then we get the. So it's tough because I'm not in the film room and I don't know what Hendon's seeing. I don't know what matchups they've talked about. But one thing I don't like, and I've said this before, is if you have man coverage and someone's bringing man blitz and you hopefully see it pre-snap, my first thought is, how am I not going to go to Jalen, Brew, or Sed? Sed and Jalen are both big bodies, good hands, and Jalen is fast as lightning, probably always going to be one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player on the field at all time. But we go to Princeton. Now, that was the one that we went to him. It got called off sides. But it's like, I just don't like that matchup. And if you see it, Jabari had a chance in a one-on-one outside in the open field. That's probably my 2 option. I'd rather see that. Or Jalen had time across the middle. Go back to Jalen again across the middle. People cannot run with him for that long if you have time. But we go to Princeton Fant when the guy has good coverage. Like I said, the play didn't matter because Princeton jumped off or started early. But like I just, I don't love it. Then it's 3rd and 10. And we don't even throw the ball to the sticks. I get it. That's okay. Like, I'm not going to be super nitpicky. I'm just like, that's kind of a bummer. Like, 3rd and 10 is like we were playing for the field goal. Then we take the field goal, and it's like that was kind of like the game in a summary right there. Like, we start fine. We're doing okay. The only thing that stops us really is us. Yeah. And then we settle for a field goal when we know we need touchdowns. And the other thing is –
that's the first – and that's uncharacteristic for us. That's what I thought immediately. I was like, we always go for it on 4th down when we're in this random territory. We never kick the field goal because we're just like, it's worth it to us. Our defense can still stop them. It's worth it to us to try and get up on this. That was where I almost had a hesitation. I was like, whoa, like, Hypo, I love you, but don't change yourself. Right. Don't change yourself because this is a big game. Do exactly what you've been doing all year.
Do what got you there.
Exactly. Do it. Gotcha.
So, and the last thing about that, and then you can talk defense and offense, those first 2 possessions. I also thought this was a summary of the game because Georgia did a hell of a job in open field tackling. And that is a very tough to do. It's very impressive. And not only did they do it for a little bit, they did it pretty much the entire game. And that is ballsy to walk in, Kirby Smart, and be like, guys, I'm going to play you in man-on-man coverage because they were giving us a lot of time, whether they were giving it to us or whether our guys just did a great job of selling that deep, putting that foot in the ground and turn around. If you watch it, we could pitch and catch on them all day. And what did I say if I was Georgia? What did I say I thought they were going to do? And what did they have to do? Make us earn it. Do not give us these layups. Now, granted, we botched the layups yesterday because we didn't hit our deep shots. Mm-hmm. But I don't care. And I'm not just saying this for Tennessee. I'm talking about with anybody. Make them earn it. Make them snap it again. I always say if you got a blade of grass, I don't care if you're on the 1-inch line, defend it because you never know what's going to happen. And that's what Georgia did. Georgia said, we're going to get after you up front. We're going to play man coverage. They had a lot of deep safeties. I did the same counting game yesterday where I was like, he should have run it here. And that's all they were fine with giving up the run. They were fine with giving Sed or Brew or Jalen those catches because they knew, like, are they going to really be able to drive it 12 plays, 15 plays. These guys are used to scoring within 3 plays. You know what I mean? And that's why I was scared that that's what Georgia was going to do. They did it. We didn't make the plays that we needed to make. That's okay. I still think Tennessee has a really good opportunity if they played this team again to make it a different game. Go ahead.
Definitely. I mean, I think you can learn from playing them the first time and realize what they were trying to do to you and how to scheme around it. So, like, I have no fear of playing them again by any means. I like the way our defense played overall. Like, I would say that there were times when I saw the Georgia offensive line like really showing their dominance out there, and that's going to happen versus the best offensive line in the country. Like, Georgia has arguably the best offensive line in the country, and that's going to happen. Like, you didn't see the same push and presence from our D-line as you did last week versus Kentucky. You didn't. You flatly didn't. There were plays where we made a tackle right at the line of scrimmage or got into the backfield and made a tackle for loss. And I love those plays. But there were also plays where every offensive lineman had a body on a body and everyone was blocked. And that's hard to do a lot of the times. And they did it multiple times versus us. So that is what gives me pause over them. I don't want to put down the entire defense and say like the entire defense played bad, but there were definitely times.
Yeah. So I don't disagree, but I don't want the thought to be like, hey, we just got manhandled. Like, we're a good team. They're a good team. It's going to be back and forth. They're going to make plays. We're going to make plays. Just like it was a good game early on against Pitt. Both teams back and forth. Same thing with Bama. It was a heavyweight fight for 60 minutes. So, like, I get it. Like, they had some good road grading plays. We had a hell of a lot of good job. Like, I thought we did a good job stopping the run, especially when
the second – you look back, I saw a tweet earlier today that was like, we allowed them the second fewest yards they've ever had, the second fewest points, second fewest rush yards, second fewest pass yards, and like forced the most turnovers. And it was just like our defense played very well. The fact that we at 14, let me check the actual time, 14-17 left in the second quarter. From that point on, our defense let up 6 total points.
Yeah.
Almost 3 entire quarters, our defense let up 6 total points. You're telling me that's not adjustments? Like, that's a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, I think the roles were just a little bit reversed yesterday. Like they made those early punches, and I heard Kirby Smart say like we just, they're a boxer and they go for the knockout in the first round, and like it's true. Like we are, we do try to knock you out in the first round, and they wanted to take us to a 10-round bout, a 12-round bout. And the thing is, like, I'm not going to sit here and say Tennessee can't do that. They absolutely can do it. We saw them do it against Alabama. We saw them do it against Florida. Like, we saw them do it at Pitt. Like, we've seen this team, play. This team can win multiple ways. We can knock you out early, and we can play you for 60 minutes. So that's one of the reasons, like, why yesterday I kind of kept still having faith all the way almost basically to the very end, because you're sitting there like, if something just clicks, and even with the rain, and it was so funny to see Kirby. I mean, they're up 3 scores, and like he just decides like, all right, I just got to start running the ball. Like I'm taking out of Stetson's hands in the second half. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to milk this clock the best we can. Like, hell, even before halftime, they didn't even get a touchdown out of it before halftime because they were so worried about us getting the ball back. Yeah. So it's like it's a credit and to what we do to people and the pressure we put on them. Now, there were some things offensively, like I would love to be able to watch the coach's film. Because then I would see like how many times did Hendon miss people, or how many times was it a covered sack? Which, if it's a covered sack, like that's okay. We're not going to blame Hendon for not being able to make a completion, but you got to get rid of the ball. You can't stand in the end zone for 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and hold it. Like you got to get out of the pocket. You got to get rid of the ball. And I was thinking about it to give an example. Like I said, like I love Hendon. I'm fine. But these are the moments where you got to put a team on your back, kind of like I saw Bryce Young do against us. where it's like that dude did everything. Like, I'm not saying Hendon can't do that. It just it's kind of like they just
what would fans say about Bryce Young's offensive line that day?
Yeah.
That he had pressure all day, pressure in his face, getting hit in the end zone. Did Bryce Young fumble in the end zone? No, he didn't. He got rid of the ball. So that's where I'm coming from, where it's like, yeah, some things don't go your way, but you expect your number one guy, your Heisman quarterback, to make plays and everybody else doesn't. That's what Bryce Young did versus us, and he killed us. He did. Yeah. He played a fantastic game, and we won in the end. But
it wasn't because of him, though.
You can't tell me the same thing that happened with Hendon. And I love Hendon. But you can't tell me he had the same kind of game that Bryce had versus us, where we lost the game. You know, they lost the game, but he played his heart out and he performed really, really well. That's not what happened.
Yeah, and I don't want to revisit that. I didn't mean to bring that up. But what I was going to say about I wish I could watch coaches film, like I said, to see, hey, did we – and they showed a couple times. Like Gary and CBS and Brad, they showed, hey, he missed him here. He had a guy here. And listen, that's okay. You can watch any football game from high school, college, and NFL every week, and you're not going to see everyone that's open, but that's okay. But like I said, you got to see some of them. Just give me 50%, So, but yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about those two drives. I can come back and say, defense, here we go again. They were great about taking their shot plays on first down. Mm-hmm. Georgia was, and did a great job completing it. The one Brandon Turnage that they took, it wasn't play action. They just dropped it back.
Great coverage.
But he had great coverage. You just got to give a kudos to a really good throw, a really good catch. And then it's good coverage again by Turnage to come back and say, hey, you just gave up one of the biggest throws of the year, but we need you to go play one-on-one on Bowers on outside. He's like, okay, I got it. Now, they hand fought. They let him hand fight. He got aggressive with him, and it was a bad throw from Stetson and nothing. Then Trey Flowers comes up and has a really good possession to kind of force and drop that. Now, here it is. Like I said, I think for me, the 3 to 4 plays of the game where the Jalen and Hendon they didn't connect, where we could have been up 10-7. Mm-hmm. I just would have loved to see how that would have played the momentum, but we never were able to take momentum back because we missed that one. Then they had the punt, which is another huge one, which then led to we got really lucky. By the way, Tennessee fans can't say anymore, oh, we always get screwed, bro. Like I said many times, each team has their times of getting screwed, not being screwed. We got really lucky. It was a safety. Great job by Javonte Spraggins, by the way, to pick that up and move his big butt as fast as he could. Kudos to him. I love to see that. Yeah. Instead of just, hell of a play too. Instead of just falling on it, to say I'm athletic enough to pick it up and try to truck some people. So kudos to him. But like I was saying, the plays that really stood out were the missed shot, the punt, the holding onto the ball / safety, not safety. But then the fact that good job. I was shocked that Georgia they didn't bring an all-out blitz or an all-out block on the punt, but they didn't. And Paxton Brooks got it out there. The guys made good blocks, but it was a short punt. That's okay. You just got to get out of the end zone. But then what do? Then they go play action. And that's when they got D'Anico on the double move. That was the first time all year that I can personally remember where I looked up and they had a guy 10 yards past ours and just beat him like what we do to teams.
That's the first thing that I thought. It was this doesn't happen. No. This doesn't usually happen to us where somebody's beat that bad.
No, and so the fact that we made it 8 weeks and I can't remember that happening one time, kudos to the defensive back and the defense. Now, the play that I was really frustrated with in the game, and then good time that I had time to settle down and sleep and then come back, was the 3rd and 10, and our coaches dial up a perfect man blitz.
Perfect.
You get a free runner, and their guy was just better than our guys. And what I was mad about yesterday was that Jawan dove and didn't stay on his feet. Now that I watch it, and I don't know who's faster, if him and Stetson Bennett lined up and just raced. I mean, Stetson Bennett's a pretty quick little cat, but I noticed that when you rewatch it, I don't think from the angle he was coming and all that grass that he had, even if he'd stayed up chasing, I don't think he would have caught him. Now, maybe it would have.
I don't know. I just feel like Jawan can catch him, and with Stetson feeling that pressure behind him, he might like try and stiff arm and stick out an arm and try and like prevent, and that gives Juwan an opportunity to grab his jersey or something like that. Or maybe he like the fact that he's still running after him, he's not paying attention to the guys in front of him anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's paying attention to Juwan, and then Jeremy Banks comes up and hits him, or Jalen McCullough comes up and hits him. So in that situation as a defensive player, I am very much on the sense of don't leave your feet unless you absolutely know that I'm going to get this. If not, trust in your speed, trust in your athleticism.
And I'm fine with that. I'm not going to sit here and say you're wrong or whatever. Like, and I'm not even going to say that, like, hey, we just got difference in opinions. I'm just saying when I watched it, I was super frustrated by that. Like, I was like, stay on your feet. You got to keep. But like, I get why he did that. And like, guy gave all out effort. But like, if you leave your feet, you got to make the play. The other reason there was so much room is because it was man. And so all of our guys were turning and running. And what they did was they did a hell of a job. The big tight end chipped and knocked BY off his feet. And that really hurt that we didn't have any contain on that outside. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is after he chipped, our Tamari McDonald's waiting there for him. Like, okay, I see that you're staying in the block. I'm still staying here. He had great eye discipline. But then the guy runs a whip route and goes back inside. So literally the entire right side of the field is completely open. It was just a good play by Stetson. And so it's like, but the defense of coaching staff, like they got a free runner on 3rd and 10. Like, I don't know what else you can ask him to do there. Mm-hmm. It just, the execution wasn't there. So that was kind of what I had about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
If you do have any plays that you want to jump into?
Being down in the end zone, it's just like literally one of the greatest punts in college football history. Puts you in a bad situation. And it's like once you get down there, like realize where you're at. Realize there's not a lot of time. Realize you got to get rid of that ball. Like he had it for a good 3 seconds, just standing back there. And like people will realize this, like Gary Danielson and what's his face? Like they don't know anything about football, but they made comments to say like,
hold on. We might not like them. We can't say they don't know anything about football. Gary played college and they call these games every week. They know college football, but yes, they yelled, you got it. You can't hold it that long.
Yeah. They're like, he's holding it. He held it too long. They would say that every time he got sacked, held it too long, meaning you can't in the SEC. Like you cannot do that versus this kind of pass rush in the SEC. Like you have to get rid of the ball. And if no one's fucking open, throw it away. Throw it away. I think maybe the game got to him and he's like, I have to make a play. And that's where, like, later on in the game, on that first down, he tries to truck a dude when he's outside of the pocket. It can literally throw it 5 yards, and it's an incompletion. We're 2nd and 10, and he gets an 8-yard sack. That drive stalled because of that play. Not because of a penalty, not because of anybody else, but because of that particular play. So
I will say this. I do appreciate, which no one's knocking his effort. I love the effort on everybody. I thought Jabari Small ran really hard. I mean, he hurt his shoulder by trying to absolutely truck that dude. Jalen Wright, like, obviously ran really hard. There was a couple that both of them, Jabari and Jalen, had like where it should have been losses in the backfield, and they made guys miss and whatever. And Hendon put his shoulder down and was like trucking some people too on some of those design runs that they had. Like, yeah. You know what I mean?
This has nothing to do with effort.
No,
everything that we say and say, hey, you can do a better job here, has nothing to do with effort. And no term or no sense of the word have we said, oh, this is happening because you're not trying. No, this is happening because you thought different, because you didn't have the right mindset going in, or you didn't understand the situation. Or you
got rattled.
You got rattled. It is all a mental thing. It has nothing to do with effort. We know this team gives effort. We know they give their all out there. Me saying Hendon let the team down does not mean that he didn't give his all. That's any kind of critique that we give to these guys doesn't mean they didn't give their all. It doesn't mean that they were distracted during the week and they weren't paying attention to this game. It doesn't mean that NIL deals are the reason why this team didn't win. None of that. It means they didn't execute. They didn't mentally equate into good plays. Like, that's what happened.
I just wouldn't do the podcast anymore if it was for a team that I felt like just didn't play hard. Because I'm just not. I mean, I'm the biggest UT fan in the world, just like everyone else is. Like, we love them, all that stuff. Hell, you played there, but like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if they're not good and like they're crappy, like, kudos to the fans that will say, I don't care if we're 3-7. Like, I'm gonna sit in that stadium and watch them till the clock hits 0. That's great, but like, I have other stuff to do with my life, and like, I'm not gonna waste time. I always give the feeling like, if you're not giving effort and not competing and playing hard, like, I'm not gonna watch you. I used to love when you would hear teams be like, we don't have good fans, like they don't show up. It's like, you don't have good fans. I'm not talking about Tennessee, because Tennessee fans are great. They show up no matter what. But I'm like, no wonder you don't have fans. Like, you guys suck. You're trash. Like, I'm not going to show up and spend my hard-earned money or spend 4 hours of my day watching your sorry asses play. Like, get better and people will come. Like, stop trying to, you know what I mean? And some of that's more of the NFL type stuff. And but
for sure.
One of the other thing is too, I guess, like, to give another example, kind of when we're talking about some of these plays, give me 1 second. So then we go to another drive, Kyler, and it's 2 nice plays to Jacob. Bang and bang. First downs, moving the ball. Let's get that tempo going. Then what happens? We get a penalty. And it's like, okay, well, now we have to slow down. Then I love the fact that a great play call, great design, great execution by everyone on the 2nd and 12 draw play. But the difference between this week and weeks past is Jalen makes that one-on-one safety guy miss. You know what I mean? There's 11 versus 11, but we have a quarterback. So what do we always say? We're going to design it. You got to make your one guy miss. He didn't make his one guy miss. That's okay. It's still a very productive play. I'm just giving you an example of maybe some things that didn't happen in this game that happened in other games. But then we get to our 3rd and 6, and that is where we missed our slot shot to Jalen. Actually, I don't even know if it was a slot shot, but anyway. So then you come on defense. Hey, we missed a shot. Our defense is back there. Eat up, Jeremy Banks. Backfield, awesome job.
Jeremy was flying around today.
Yeah. Then we go to 3rd down, and it was the behind the, Stetson Bennett makes a pass behind, and it's not a good throw.
Guess what? There was pressure. Pressure.
And we forced a punt.
Yeah. Whenever you get Stetson a little bit like, oh, I have to go quick or I have to think, like, the ball isn't that great. The throws that he had downfield there were great passes, and the first downs that he got on 3rd and long, the guy had all day. There was nothing on him. He could step up in the pocket, get all the time in the world. When there's pressure on him, he can't perform that well. But god dang, is his offensive line very, very good.
Yeah, and he's pretty good with his legs. Like, I even was talking to somebody before the game as we were walking around and tailgating, and I was like, dude, Stetson's a little player. Like, he's not going to go to the NFL. Like, I don't think he's a Heisman Trophy winner, but he is perfect for what they do. And that's why he won the job over the guys that they had transferred in and 5 stars this and all that stuff, because Kirby's like, I can win with this guy because I'm going to have awesome defense and, good run game. And like I said, like, he's more than a game manager, in my opinion, because on 3rd and 10, when you need to beat a linebacker coming at you, a game manager's not going to do that. So he's a little player. He did really annoy the hell out of me yesterday, just with like how he's acting. And I love that you tweeted like he made a bad throw and then wants to blame someone else, because like we talked about that recently. Like, whether it's a corner that tries to blame a safety, or a safety blames a corner, or a quarterback that blames a receiver, it's just like, bro, like, just eat what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Like, threw it behind his receiver and immediately like, what are you doing? On the TV copy, I'm like, dude, you threw it behind him. There's a reason why he freaking dropped it.
What do you want?
Yeah, what do you want from him?
You got any plays that you want to hit on so far that we haven't talked about yet?
No, I don't think so. I'm like trying to stay with exactly the time that we were at.
That's okay. You don't have to if you see some other stuff.
No, I don't see anything else in my notes, so we can just keep moving.
Yeah, while you're looking, this really, it kind of brought me back a little bit to like almost last year. Like, I felt like this team like kind of took a step like they did last year. And this is kind of more talking about some overarching themes with some plays that might be examples. But like last year when you and I would do the pod, it's like, whether it was against Ole Miss or whether it was against Pitt or Florida, and the missed opportunities and the penalties here and there, like when we were down in Florida. Cowlake drops it, and then after that, it was just kind of like the game was done. Like we couldn't block anybody. Guys were getting injured. Tank misses an open field tackle. Like we didn't go all the way revert back to that. Not at all. And this team that we were playing was much better than anybody that we played last year compared to maybe Bama and obviously Georgia last year. But like just the undisciplined stuff, and like that's the only knock that I've had on Josh Heupel at times is like you can't be so undisciplined. Like, and I know he can't stop the guys from jumping off sides and causing penalties and stuff. But like, it's kind of always been a theme with him, even when we win, and you can kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
When you move so fast and you score a gajillion points, but like it happens. And then, so just undisciplined by a lot of people. I mean, there's tons of like receivers jumped off sides, offensive linemen jumped off sides. Jalen Wright jumped off sides. The only other thing too, offensively, besides or coaching wise, that I felt like we kind of took a step back was in a weird way. There were times where just how I was talking about earlier a couple pods ago, where we're a power run game, and then we want to take our vertical shots or take our deep shots, or we'll have our hitches and stuff like that. I felt like yesterday. And Jack made a awesome point. Like he's like, we know they're blitzing a couple times. Like we see it, we know it. You already talked about they brought that same blitz 4 or 5 times. I'm like, I didn't see a screen. We did have some draw plays, but like knowing what they're going to do and knowing that they're running man blitzes, like I was surprised that we didn't see an adjustment to some screens. And I'm not saying they have to be overarching massive screens with the big boys up front, but like where were some of those? Where here comes the motion, and you come up and block, and then you throw it behind them and try to get, what I mean? Like I didn't see any of that. Which, listen, like that's okay. Like Coach Heupel could maybe say he didn't have his best game, like calling games or play designs or whatever. Now I get it, like because a lot of the stuff, like I said earlier, like was very effortless for us. Like I felt like we moved the ball fine until we shot ourselves in the foot. You know what I mean? Like whether it was the hitch routes, the dinks and dunks, whatever, but like. We didn't attack the middle of the field as much later in the game as we did early in the game. And I just wish I would have seen a little bit more variety maybe on some of the pass plays. And I could be talking completely out of my butt because I haven't been able to sit and watch in the coaches' film. I'm just saying how it seemed like we kind of knew what was up. It's like they're going to bring the house. They're going to play man. Like what are we going to do to beat it? And maybe to answer some of the stuff about the coverage sacks, like could we have designed some other stuff for some clear out plays from like, get the ball out of his hands a little bit earlier. So I think the whole day, and really funny about it is like the whole day just didn't go really our way, but like the guys really competed. The defense still made plays to give the offense opportunities. That game, if Hendon on that 4th and 2, if we can convert that 4th and 2, which I was a little frustrated that he got, like I get it, he got sacked, he had pressure, but like it's 4th and 2, man. Just chuck it in the semi direction of Brew or Said. You know what I mean? Like, we already got bailed out once on the 4th and cajillion, and they got the face mask. You got another chance at life. And, like, if we –
Are you talking about the one late where he overthrew Brew?
I'm talking way late. If you get rid of it on that 4th and 2 and we somehow go down and score, it's a one-possession game.
Yeah. With
3 minutes and, like, 20 seconds to go. So that's why I tweeted that out, like, no matter all the bad stuff and how bad we played, and we got rattled, and we weren't super composed, and – they made the plays and we didn't. Like, it was a one-possession game. It could have been a one-possession game, two-possession game. And I'm not talking about moral victories. Like, they beat us. They won the game. Like, congrats to Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, let's pump the brakes on the, like, hey, like, it was just a straight-up ass-kicking from start to finish, like we did to Kentucky or LSU or something like that.
Exactly. I mean – before we like really kind of, I don't know if we want to keep going through certain plays.
Go ahead. Yeah. If you got
I just kind of like want to go through my notes and see if anything pops out to me.
Yeah.
I thought like Jalen McCullough was literally in the perfect place in the middle of the field to prevent that touchdown that was thrown into the back underneath the goalpost. Tim Banks put him in the perfect place, running, cover 3. Jalen's sitting right in the middle. If you saw that from Stetson Bennett's perspective, it's not open in any way, shape, or form. Stetson threw it at the goalposts and was like, it's high, it's in the back of the end zone. It's exactly what a teaching point is, and it was completed.
Yeah, it was exactly. It not only a teaching point, like they designed that purposely. Like you put it up where our guy can get it. If not, it's out of the back of the end zone.
Exactly.
You know, if it's not there, sail it out, and we're going to kick 3. So it was it was a good coaching job, and it was a great execution, and yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the defense again for holding them to a field goal before half. I thought that was incredible. I thought there was a lot of good plays. Like there was a play where they pitched to the outside on the fumble. Haddon sets the edge, makes him cut back inside. Trey Flowers comes up from safety, knocks that ball out right after Jalen Wright gives up the fumble. Like that is a great play. If you would have told me our defense held Georgia to 27 points and caused 2 turnovers, I would have told you we win this game.
I agreed.
Wholeheartedly.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I like no matter what anyone is saying, I cannot fault the defense. No, there's no way I can. I thought some guys stepped up like towards the end, like we're just still putting in effort. Like Bryson Easton was still trying really hard.
Yeah, he was.
Aaron Beasley was putting out freaking effort like crazy. Jeremy Banks was still putting out effort, even when it felt like the game was over. Those guys were still trying. And to finish on defense, like fuck Kirby Smart for trying to throw that deep ball. Like you're up 3 scores. Like screw off. Seriously. For on that 3rd and long, trying to throw that. And you know what? Good play by Wesley Walker. Way to knock that ball away. Hell of a play.
Great coverage. Great coverage. Hell of a play. You know what, Kyler? And like I said, we've never – this team's never given us a reason that they're not going to fight for 60 minutes and play their asses off. The late touchdown was so important for optics. Like because like
even if people remember exactly what happened in the game and the fact that touchdown wasn't until the 4th quarter and that we really didn't score much and they were really just demoralizing our offense, 27-13 on the scoreboard when it comes to college football playoff rankings and who gets in, and Tennessee only has 1 loss on the season and it's 2 scores to the number 1 team in the country. That's going to look a little different.
Yeah. Once again, not a moral victory, but it was very, very important for the team's confidence, for the team's overall performance. But if we have to play these games of optics and eye test and strength of schedule and all that stuff because we want a chance at a national championship, when you don't take care of business, you gotta kind of get lucky, and that's fine. Things happen. We already got lucky with. We got fortunate with Bama taking an L, which we all love to see that. Clemson, we all have known for a year that Clemson isn't what they are. They took an L. That's and great. So now we're back. So now you get some other help. That's fine. Multiple national championships have already gotten help. I think Dan Harrelson's the one that put out a tweet or someone else put out a tweet like all these teams that have won the national championships have gotten help. You know what? No one remembers them getting help. They just remember that in 2017, Ohio State or Bama or whoever had taken an L came back and won the Natty. They're not going to give us a trophy if we won the Natty and then have like under here like you lost to Georgia week 8. Like, no, we got the national championship. We're the best team. So it was very good to see them score that late and for the defense to keep giving the offense opportunities. The rain obviously was super unfortunate, but that wasn't the reason we lost the game or maybe didn't score or whatever. And it's like it just kind of added to it. Like you got to be able to play in those positions, but I would have loved to see a neutral site game in a dome. I'd love to see that. And it would tell us a lot about Coach Hype and how much he makes adjustments. Exactly. But yeah, that was just I was adding to you talking about the late score.
As it comes to offense, I obviously Hendon was sacked multiple times. And that is not good. But at the same time, some of the blitz pickups that this offensive line did were very good. Some of the blitz pickups they had were very good, where they adjusted, they were able to see it coming, and they got a body on a body, and there was no rush on Hendon. That happened. There were at least 3 of the sacks that were on running backs or tight ends, and that only on running backs and tight ends. There was at least 2 others that were on Hendon. So I don't want to put all of the blame on the offensive line. I know people want to do that. As soon as they see sack, they think it's offensive line. It's offensive line's fault. It's always O-line. I'm an offensive lineman. I see it from a different point of view. I don't know how to tell you this, but it's not always on the offensive line. So I just want to say that, give my piece on that. But I thought there were some great play design still. I thought one of our fourth downs where Hendon took it himself, I thought that was a great play design. They pulled Jerome on it, making it look like it's going to be a counter up the middle. And they had their running back bounce outside and be a blocker for Hendon. And he was able to just free and clear, get a first down. It was very easy for him to pick up. That's a great play design.
Hey, piggyback off that. I also had shades of Pitt last year when Jalen Hyatt made a great catch. But let me say this before I forget. I think Jalen Hyatt had his best catch of the year late in that game where the ball was behind him. The guy was on his back and it was raining to lead up to us getting that lad. That is a massive catch. Like all the Alabama highlights and all that stuff looks great, but I'm gonna tell you, all those catches are easy for Jalen because he's just running, pitch and catch, no big deal. He's done that 100 times in his life. But to have a guy on your back, you got to come back. You've double caught it, like so great concentration. But that was an awesome catch. Now, anyways, what I was saying is the catch that he made, and it looked like it was an easy first down on second, whatever, and it goes to 3rd and 1, and I'm like, oh gosh, here we go, Pitt again. They're going to stop us. I hate when we line up under center and just don't sneak it because it's such a long whatever. Great job because we got stopped, but great job on one of them that we haven't mentioned where Jalen Wright basically there's trouble in the backfield already, and he just leaves his feet and gets the first down. I'm like,
just leaves.
Okay. Yes, I was like, thank goodness, because it was just shades of Pitt all over again where we get screwed by a spot and we don't take time to look at it. We rush up. You say, hey, we'll still get the 3rd and 1. We don't, and it's like, oh God, fourth down. So I was so happy that you called that play out later where it's 4th, and it was a beautiful play design.
Beautiful. I agree with you that I thought Jalen got that first down. There was no need for that 3rd down run. I thought it was ridiculous. Let's see. I thought like Hendon had a good pull on a read option. Like it was the exact right move to do, and he got a first down off it. Like I was like, yes. The pick that Hendon threw. That was incredible coverage by number 5. He has been a good corner for Georgia for multiple years. He was a pivotal part of their national championship last year, and he is a very good corner. That to say, Hendon is a very good quarterback. He is a very good quarterback. When you have one-on-one coverage, you need to know how to throw the ball to your guy. Where is the DB on your guy? Where do you need to throw the ball? Aaron Rodgers might be the best quarterback I've ever seen in this specific instance, where if he has one-on-one coverage, he knows I need to lead him, I need to throw a jump ball, or I need to throw a back shoulder. He knows. He can see it. He can see by the DB coverage where he needs to go with it. Hendon threw it as he usually throws it, trying to lead his receiver into the end zone. And that is not the throw that he should have tried. He should have tried a jump ball or a back shoulder. Now listen, this is very difficult to do. I'm not saying it's not. It is a very difficult throw to try and do a jump ball and to try and do a back shoulder. It's very difficult to adjust based off of the DB's alignment on your wide receiver. That is a very difficult thing. But Hendon is a Heisman frontrunner. He is seen as one of the best quarterbacks in college football. If he is a Heisman frontrunner and one of the best quarterbacks in college football, my expectation of what he can do is very high. And I think everyone else's expectations of what he can do are very high as well. So you don't expect him to throw an interception like that. Am I wrong?
I personally thought in that position. Now, I was tired of hearing about Keely Ringo for a while now. We were eating that boy up. He could not – when Cedric was coming off the ball, firing, putting that foot in the ground, turn around, and we were making good throws and catch. I'm telling you, to be able to see routine pitch and catch when it's a long throw like that, I mean, that's impressive. Like Hendon was putting it on the money. Like Cedric was doing a great job making hand catches. There was multiple times he broke Keely Ringo's tackles. We attacked him one time, and he got, I think, a PI or maybe two. In that specific play, I felt like it was a forced. I'm fine with giving your guy a chance. I'm fine with giving a 50-50 ball to Ced, but that wasn't a 50-50 ball. Keely Ringo had great position there, but I felt like that drive was, and I'm pretty sure I've watched the game on TV, then I rewatched it for the notes, and now I'm rewatching again. I think this is actually the possession, if I'm not mistaken, where it was 6-21, 6 minutes to go in the second half. We're moving the ball. If you score there, it's 13-21. And then if we can somehow stop them, then we get the ball back at half, changes the game. And I felt like we were really nickel and diming, moving it well, and he forces it, and it kills all the momentum, and it takes our chance at points off the board. That was my biggest thing is I agree with you about where you need to place the ball. But like I said, I thought it was just more of a bad decision, honestly. I thought he just kind of forced it. And if you are going to give Ced a shot, you got to give Ced a shot. Ced did everything in the world to prevent the pick, so kudos to him.
Yeah. And then, as we get later into it, they sent one blitz where Jalen Wright did a perfect job. He picked up the blitz. He cut the defender coming on the blitz. The guy fell on his face, got up off the ground, and then made the sack. And Hendon did get rid of the ball. And we had we had 6 guys for their 6 blitzers, and we picked up all of them. And it's like, now what do we do? Now who's it on at this point? But on that play, which I will go for Hendon's side, there were only 2 routes run. On the other side of the field, the guys didn't run routes. And we've talked about this multiple times. Some plays on this offense, they have 2 guys run routes and the other ones don't. And I didn't understand it, and I didn't really get it because there is that opportunity where you look over and they have everything covered. You have to go, oh, crap, what's over on this side? And when you don't run routes over there and your guys are just running 10 yards and turning around looking at you, nothing's going to happen. There's no positive that can come out of it. So it kind of stinks. That's part of it, but I understand it. So I'm in between a rock and a hard place with that.
Yeah, it's matter of fact, I'm rewatching it now. It's the drive where we just had the 4th and 1, beautiful play. But there's some give and take. Hey, like I said, sometimes when all those threes are dropping, baby, we're all standing up in TBA or we're standing on our couches, three of the dome. And then when you get a game and you're missing those, then it's you live and die by it sometimes. So, yeah, that's a teaching point where Hendon's just got to get up and get what he can get, close the ball up and try to get a yard or 2 or just throw it away.
Exactly.
So, no, I feel you.
Yeah. And then, they kept running that same blitz over and over. I was getting pissed off by that. Dylan Sampson gets beat on his block towards the end. Fant just doesn't even see the blitzer coming towards the end. And, that just takes us out of the game because when you were thinking about it, the whole 4th quarter, we were still in the game. You couldn't tell me that this team couldn't score twice in 4 minutes. I knew that. We scored with 4:17 left. I'm like, this team could still score 2 times. How explosive their offense is, they could do it.
Defense did a good job getting us the ball back.
Yeah, and the defense did a great job. So there was, until the very last drive that I think we were out of this, that there was no chance anymore.
I'm telling you, it's like Golden State Warriors, man. Yeah. You're waiting for Stephen Clay to hit a 3 and be like, whoa, hold on, people. There's still 16 seconds left in this. And, but I do understand why we took that shot because now I'm rewatching it again. And like I said, we just got the 4th and 1. We're getting on the ball quick. He snaps it and he lets it go to Ced. And I'm telling you, at least in the first half, I feel like I said, last thing I'll say on this, and we can wrap up. I really do feel like a lot of it was Tennessee, and that makes me feel very frustrated, but also very good because I don't feel like we went down there like last year when we were talking to Jerome, when we had that Jerome Carvin on our interview in the fall, and he said, I wish we could have gotten the Georgia game back. Personally, as a fan, I'm like, man, I get you as a player. You felt like you could have done some things, but like that was a 41 to whatever game. Like I felt like that was pretty much outclassed.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get, but obviously I'm not going to say that to him. Like he's a player on the team. Any competitor should feel that way. I do not feel that way remotely at all because of our team and their team is different. But I really felt like when we needed to move the ball, I felt like we ran it fine on them. You know, I felt like we could pitch and catch on them from time to time. Like they did a good job of also stepping up on some big third downs, you know, and they knew like, hey, if it's 3rd and 7, watch for a run because he's going to probably try to go for it on 4th.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, it's execution. It was a total team loss, you know, but we didn't execute. You know, we probably didn't have our best game on certain play calls. Maybe I still felt like the funny thing is if I don't feel like Heupel did his best job, then like I think he went from a 99 overall to like a 92 because he does so many great things to put these guys in position. Same thing with Tim Banks on the defensive side.
Yeah.
But I personally would love another shot at these guys.
And here is also something I want to point out too with Georgia. They played Oregon first game of the season. Oregon was ranked pretty high. They beat the ever-living crap out of them because Oregon was just not prepared. The game was in Atlanta. It's pretty much a home game. And Oregon has gotten better since then. The games after that, Georgia plays Sanford, South Carolina, Kent State, Missouri, Auburn, Vandy, Florida last week, then us. In any of those games, was there ever any reason for them to worry, for them to try something new, for them to bring out their best blitz, bring out their best play, do their best thing, try and make this mismatch advantage? No, all of those teams are bad teams, man. And where did we have? We had Florida as a top 15 team, you know, or 20. They're not that anymore. They're demoralized now. We had LSU at LSU. Of course, they had to give us their best bet. Now they're going to the SEC. Now it looks like they're going to the SEC championship. We had Bama. We had Kentucky in the top 20, who's trying their absolute best to beat us. We had games that we needed to put forth everything we could to win those games, and Georgia hasn't had that all year. This was the only one that was circled. They're not circling Vandy in South Carolina or Missouri or Kent State or even that Florida game last week. They were circling this one. So that makes their approach and the things they bring out a lot different. And I think that's what led to us getting beat.
Yeah, I think it definitely can play a factor into it. It was funny. I don't know if it's Brad Nessler or Gary Danielson, but they're like, we bet Kirby had Will Muschamp breaking down this Tennessee offense for the past 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And obviously we don't know if it's true, but that's not even coming from a Tennessee fan. That's coming from the announcers, like how much time and effort, because they weren't worried about going to LSU or they didn't have to play Bama. That's fine. We're not making excuses. They won. We're just talking about all the different factors in it.
And as we go into this Missouri week, we're back in Neyland, 12 noon kickoff, playing a very bad Missouri team who scored above 23 points twice to dog doo-doo in the beginning of the season. This is going to be a pissed off Vols football team who will take it out on Missouri. And I feel bad for Missouri because I could easily see this being like a 56-10 game.
I hope you're right. And I think they should. I think, obviously we're going to be big favorites in the last 3 games. Go out there, put massive points up, play clean, work on the stuff you need to work on, and go handle business so that at the end of the year you can say, hey, we lost. It's okay. Tip of the cap to Georgia. We handled the rest of the business.
Yeah.
Do we get a shot or not? If we do, you better be ready.
Make it seem like an anomaly.
Make it count. Make it count. If you get a second opportunity at something, you gotta make it count.
Exactly.
So,
all right, man. Good pod. Thank you guys for watching and listening. If you are watching, make sure and hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave comments. We absolutely love the comments. Love to interact with you guys. If you're just listening, rate and review, download, re-download, and follow all of us on any podcast platform you're on. We have merch, as you saw, me and Reed wearing it during the show. How we doing, bud? T-shirts. Please check them out. The link is below, so buy your own. If you want to follow us on social media, at Believe in Tennessee, our Twitter, at rbacon26 for Reed, at Kyler Curbison for myself. And just appreciate you guys watching and listening. We are absolutely exploding on YouTube, getting up in the thousands, and God, it feels beautiful every single time to see your guys' reactions to it and see the comments. It makes us feel great. So please keep it up. As always, go Vols.